I just want to visit with you briefly. This morning at SEMO Electric Cooperative, I called the line group together to have a meeting with me. In light of the current context we've had in the state of Missouri and across the nation for that matter, and it's not only amongst cooperatives, it's investor-owned and munis alike. At one point, I gave consideration to it being a problem or a shortcoming with our safety program. And as I thought about it over the weekend and gave it a great deal of thought, if it would have been that, then the increase in contacts wouldn't be nationwide. So I looked for a common denominator, and after a great deal of thought, I think I may have struck upon something when I thought that perhaps we've come too overstimulated over the past 5 years, past 6 years. We have a great many distractions, cell phones, iPads, we're inundated with information, we're inundated with calls from home, friends, and I believe a lot of times when we get to the job site, when we step out of the truck and put our foot on the job site, we're not thinking about the job, our mind is on our last text, our last email, our last phone call. And upon that, I decided I would visit with our group and tell them my thoughts and see if they agreed or if they were of a different opinion. Surprisingly enough, most of them agreed. And in light of that, when they agreed, I decided to tell them a story of the contact I had a good many years ago. I had been distracted by a current labor contract. Supervisor pulled up on the job and I felt like I needed to tell him what I thought about it. And when I got done giving him my thoughts, I turned around, grabbed a conductor that was hanging from a pole and was going to cut the end off and install a sleeve on it for my partner that was in the air at the time. Thinking about what I had just said and done, I didn't look up. The line hadn't been grounded. I had my contact. I found myself laying in a ditch. After that, I went to the hospital and my wife had the most horrible day of her life. She had the CEO of the cooperative and the operations manager of the cooperative at her doorstep picking her up to take her to the hospital to see me. At the time, we didn't have cell phones. Didn't have that resource to use to actually find out how bad someone was. She spent a 45-minute car ride wondering if I was having limbs amputated or if she would even find me there alive. My message to each and every one of you is to give that some thought. Don't put your wife through that terror. Don't put your family through that terror. During the whole ordeal I went through, the pain was bad, the recovery process was painful. But what impacted me most was the impact it had on my wife. The terror that she had in her eyes when she walked in the hospital emergency room. And just take that to work with you next time you step out of the truck and start a job.